Killing machine.
Lying here. This is how everything ends. No more for these kings of men. This is how.
So thanks for watching another Crazy Killing Machine video. We are here with our fourth character creation for our new Keyforge RPG. And we have Ollie Cornish, brother of Finn Cornish, who we've already seen with his Martian loyalist. We've got something quite special for you in this video. So without further ado, I'll ask Ollie just to give him a bit of a brief introduction to who he is and what he does with Keyforge and yeah, a bit of a background into Ollie, and then I'll just let Steve crack on and we'll go through another character. So Ollie, thanks for joining us, and yeah, tell us a bit about you and Keyforge.
Hi, I'm part of the London Legends. As you said, I'm Finn's brother. Played quite a lot of tournaments, gone around, played a lot of Vault Tours. Not done particularly well, but I've done them. And yeah, I'm very excited about this RPG.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
love the world and the lore of Keyforge.
Yeah, it's gonna be good fun.
Cool. You got anything you want to plug? Any like Twitch streams or anything like that?
Yeah, me and Finn do the Twitch, but I'm sure he's already done it. Sigil Brotherhood on Twitch.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to introduce us to your character, then obviously you're called Pebblesaurus. So tell us a little bit about what race you are and where your character comes from.
I'm one of the new races in the book, Silicate, which are rocks live on the Crucible and live there. However, they live forever. And I'm part of the Saurian Republic. So there's a theory which is when the dinosaurs get wiped out by the asteroid, they got taken to the Crucible, and a part of the meteor got taken, and that is me. And my name is Pebblesaurus.
Nice.
Pebblesaurus.
Pebblesaurus. So yeah, to just expand on that a little bit. So obviously, no one really knows where the Crucible came from or what it is or why it's there. But one of the big theories, like every different race and all the different houses have their own opinion on what the Crucible is. And for the Saurians, they believe that when a race is on the pinnacle of extinction, the architect and their archons get involved and they teleport the entire species as it is at the moment and put it on the Crucible to live out so that they can then study it and see what would have happened if they survived. So with the Saurians, obviously, they were actually dinosaurs from Earth, obviously millions and billions of years ago. And the thought is just before the meteor struck, that everyone got teleported over to the Crucible. And because they were one of the first races on the Crucible, that's why they're one of the most advanced, and that's why they've got the whole Republic, and they've got quite a big standing on the Crucible. So yeah, and yeah, so you're saying obviously you are a silicate, so they are massive rock-like beings, like big creatures. If you look in the book here, and they've got like different like crystals growing off them and stuff. So what does your guy look like? Is he a massive fucking boulder?
Is he a massive golem? A massive golem that towers over buildings? No.
When you're the younger silicates, they tend to just be pebbles, and that is what I am. So I'm 3 inches tall.
Nice.
And
But wait, you've got arms though, yeah?
No arms. No.
But you've got legs, yeah?
No. A floating pebble.
Floating pebble. Very nice.
They can hover.
But you've got legs though, yeah?
No legs, no.
That is
one of my goals as a character is to grow a body and become the emperor of the Saurian Republic.
Whoa, so wait a minute. Grow a body, become the emperor of the Saurian Republic.
Comes hand in hand, right?
You need a body to become the emperor.
So does your character think he's a dinosaur? Or does he
No.
know what he is?
He knows what he is, but he does not know that he necessarily destroyed, made the dinosaurs extinct on Earth.
Okay. So he's definitely part of the initial meteor, or does he just
Yeah.
think he is?
He definitely is, and
Okay.
that's why he's so. That's why he's a part of the Saurians, and the Saurians respect him so much because they actually they feel fear of danger towards him.
Yeah. So you think obviously he must have come across at the same time as all the Saurians did. So you're saying he's pretty damn old then.
He's quite old, yes.
So how long
And
does
he's
it
just never
take?
grown
How
up.
long does it take in the book? So realistically, I don't know if you're gonna take some liberties with this in timelines, but how long does it take for him to become, or in the book, Steve, when it comes to from a pebble to growing up as a full silicate? Silicate? Is that what they're called? Silicates?
Silicates, yeah. So
Or does it say anything about that, or I don't know?
it doesn't really cover it. I mean, obviously, I would say like a silicate is a little bit obviously different in that they do grow up, but they don't tend do live for absolutely ages. But most of them already have arms and legs to start with. Whereas obviously your character is it's going to be, I guess, it identifies as a silicate, and we mostly like a silicate, but it's like because it is a piece of the rock that was initially given life as part of coming to the crucible, is what I would say. So it's going to be treated like a silicate and act like a silicate, but really he doesn't know quite what he is. He's just everyone just assumes he's a silicate because that's where he's come
confused
from.
little pebble.
He's just a little pebble that doesn't
Just a
know.
confused little pebble.
And because obviously silicates are born with arms and legs, they don't then grow them. So your guy's going to have to find a way to get the body and the arms and legs without just being like, oh, just wait a few 100 million years and maybe they'll grow.
Do you ever
So
play
that'll be quite interesting.
Do you ever see the PS4 like the launch title Knack? That's what I've got in my head. If anybody's watching this, if you've played Knack or if you don't know what Knack is, Google KNACK for the PS4. I guarantee that's what I've got in my head is what your Pebblesaurus looks like now. If you've not seen it, watch your video. It's him. Except for it's not 3 inches tall, but it's a stump.
It does say when they grow older, they do grow crystals on their body, though. That's the only thing they do with age.
Yep.
So my guy does have crystals on it.
Okay.
The blue crystals the Saurians tend to find as amber, I think.
Yeah. And he's got those growing on him.
Yeah, and that's his notable feature. He's got 3 crystals on top of it.
Nice. So what would you say? So obviously we'll go with the same question that we've gone with everyone else. How does your character view the Crucible? Does he believe the same thing that Saurians did, or is there?
So obviously he's grown in Saurian Republic and lived among them, but he's a little more focused on finding out who he is and what he is within the Crucible, and he's got a deep interest in amber and see what that can do. For example, if it can grow his body back or something.
Okay, cool. Because chances are he probably thinks that amber is what has given him life as well, because that's the one difference between Earth and the Crucible. Well, one of the many differences, the big difference.
Also, it seems it's their core. They've got a glowing core, and as silicates, and it could have his belief is in the energy of that core has come from the amber itself.
Yeah, that would make sense. So the next one would be then, what is your character's strengths and weaknesses other than having no legs?
So obviously he's got no body. So interacting with things might be a tricky one. And as a pebble, severely lacks communication. Severely lacking communication skills. But he's very strong-willed. He's gone through a lot in his life. And obviously he has quite a big respect and feared among the Saurian race. So he's quite powerful.
It's got a lot of respect. I like it. So then what would then bring the Pebble to the party? Why would you think that the Pebble would have left the Saurian Republic somewhere where he's respected and feared to actually find himself with this party potentially somewhere completely different?
Because he's on his quest to try and become a full body, and so he can eventually become the emperor or overthrow the current emperor of the Saurian Republic. So he's probably on the quest to find Amber or something, or find the answer to Amber and what it is.
And what it is, the answer to Amber, the life and everything. I like it. So if we then go into like the silicate character, then obviously a silicate is usually a big bouldering creature made out of obviously rocks and crystals. So they're usually really, really tough, really big, good in fights and stuff like that. But your guy is a little pebble. So
Yes.
obviously I'm going to go through the stats, but we've already had a little chat. We've decided we're going to adjust this a little bit. So as standard, they get a brawn of 3, agility 1, intellect 2, cunning 2, willpower 2, and presence 2. So I didn't think that the brawn being 3 fitted well, because though you are obviously going to be pretty solid being made out of rock, you're only going to be small and you shouldn't be
really
getting an
pack a
advantage
punch
in
or
big
anything.
fights. Yeah. So what I did was I've downgraded that to a 1, I believe. And to make up for it, I've then given you an additional point in agility. So your brawn will be 1, your agility will be 2. And the way I thought there was, obviously you are going to be a floating pebble, so I'd say you're going to be pretty agile. You're going to be a bit faster. You can be like zooming around a little bit maybe. And to make up for that, because there is a bit of a deficit there, because I've taken 2 points out of one and only put 1 into the other, I've given you an additional 20 experience, I believe.
Yes, 20.
Which I think is really good in terms of helping you define your character more, because you've gone for quite a unique choice. One thing I didn't tell you though, obviously you can upgrade your characteristics, and later on you'll be able to upgrade your characteristics. Obviously during as part of the rules anyway, you can only upgrade each characteristic by 2. So your character is currently on 1 brawn, so your cap is going to be 3, even though there's no way of getting past that. But later on in the story, if something might happen, like maybe your character grows arms and legs, at that point we'll revisit that, and you might get some brawn or something like that. We'll add that in, or if your guy gets a bit bigger or anything like that, we'll see. So if we go through your character a little bit more, your starting skills, you get a 1 rank in knowledge of culture, cool, and survival. So you get all of those, which is pretty good for starting with.
Nice.
And then you get the special ability tough as rock, or tough as a pebble for you. So for this one, what it does is you get to decrease the difficulty to heal any critical injuries it is suffering from by 1. A silicate doesn't suffer the normal penalties for making a medicine check to heal their own wounds or critical injuries. So essentially, you're going to be able to take a punch a lot harder, which makes sense for a pebble as much as it does for a normal rock.
He's going to need it when he gets thrown out of a sling or a slingshot, or a catapult. Or a catapult. He's going to need that. He's going to need that impact sort of damage, isn't he?
You're going to be thrown, so you're going to have a lot of chips taken out of you. So obviously, the next thing you would get to do then is to choose a career. So what have you gone for?
I've gone for Ambermancer.
Very nice.
And I feel like it works for my character, with this fascination with amber.
Yep.
And obviously, Stefano's gone for the same one, and I would like to have a different approach to it, I guess. To be a unique party member.
I was going to say, yeah, obviously it encompasses quite a lot being an Ambermancer. You're using amber, and amber can be used for pretty much anything. So I'll just go through the Ambermancer pretty quickly. So you get the following skills as career skills: Ambercraft, Brawl, Cool, Discipline, Knowledge of Amber, Perception, Resilience, and Survival. And you get to pick 4 of those to put a skill in initially. So what have you gone for?
I picked Ambercraft. I picked Cool. No, it's Cool. Discipline.
You start with Cool. Yep, cool. That makes sense.
Amber, Knowledge. And Survival.
Cool. So you'd say your character's going to be a bit more like sagey, like you're going to be you're very cool, calm, collected, and trying to understand the world, opposite to obviously Stefano's character, which is very much, I'm going to blow shit up and hope for the best. So I think already we're saying we've got a bit of a difference there. Your guy is going to be a bit more like level-headed.
Even though I got an head.
Well, he's just all head.
It's just a head.
I'm sure there's some kind of rock in there, I'm sure, but yeah, you start in gear then. So you get to choose between a brawl weapon, or a two-handed melee weapon? So which one have you gone for? Bearing in mind you've got no hands, no
as I've
legs.
got no hands, I feel a two-handed melee weapon was a bit difficult.
We'll just duct tape it to you.
So I've got a brawl melee weapon.
Okay.
But it's
So that
trait
comes-
was spectral.
Yeah, so that gets a spectral trait. So let's take a look at that, and we'll see how we can make that fit for actually not having a weapon. And because a brawl weapon is usually something like knuckle dusters, but obviously this is going to have to be something like you're going to be hitting people with your own body, potentially. So we'll be let's have a look and see what spectral says.
If it's spectral, it'd be something like it's like a spectral hammer or something, couldn't it? Or a
Yeah, so the weapon has a ghostly nature. Either it is truly spiritual or a portion of its design puts it out of phase with reality. This makes it far easier to wield and more capable of overcoming a foe's defenses. So for that then, I would probably say it's like you either like surround yourself in like a spectral barrier, and then when you hit someone, obviously you're preparing, so therefore the spectral barrier is what takes the brunt of the like damage, so therefore you're not going to be hurting yourself when you attack with it.
Yeah.
So your attack will be literally you going flying at them,
Me
bouncing
getting
off,
knocked
doing
about
it.
people.
like a Zorb ball.
Yeah.
Like he's gone
So you're going to
zombie.
get surrounded in that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I
Yeah,
feel.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you get durable clothing, which is either bone weave or psychic. So do you have a big so
I feel like I would go for psychic.
yeah, I was going to say bone weave. Whether or not a rock would even wear clothes is quite impressive.
Yeah.
So let's have a look and see what psychic says. Where is armor trait? Psychic. So psychic says, so it extends beyond the physical realm, bolstering the wearer's mental strength as well. So
Yeah.
it would mean if you get attacked psychically.
Okay.
So
yeah.
maybe it's not going to be actual clothes. Maybe it is just like a barrier you've got.
Yeah.
It's because it makes sense. Someone can't like psychically
Penetrate
control a little pebble, penetrate a pebble.
Could we not give him like a Magneto helmet or something like that? Like some sort of, it's just like a little floating Magneto helmet.
I mean, you can make it look whatever you like. So this then leads on to like obviously the other stuff that you get. And my big question for you is like, how are you going to carry all this? So you get a utility belt, and
Yes.
like, are you going to have that actually wrapped around your little rock, or?
I'm interested in this. I don't know. I could imagine like a little Batman utility belt on this tiny pebble, but it seems a bit unrealistic. It doesn't seem like it can carry much either.
Unrealistic.
What if the utility belt was almost like a not a sling, but something that you were transported about in? Like that's when you said utility belt then, so maybe something that if you befriended somebody, instead of you having to float around at snail's pace, it was something that you socketed into, or
Right.
no, I
So
don't know. I was
kind of
just
what's
thinking
the
then, yeah,
point in it?
yeah. Basically, like the utility isn't you're using it for utilities. You are the utility.
But yeah, and it would have your stuff in it as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
Little house.
But yeah. How would we like think like your character in terms of like? Would it?
Maybe with the spectral kind of like idea as well, it could be a bit more magical, like belt, essentially storage in a different realm or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, that would kind of make sense. Obviously, with the world in Keyforge, like there would always be weird things like that hanging around. So yeah, I mean, I guess we could do that. We would have potentially that you could like manifest it out of nowhere. So obviously, as long as you've got it somewhere, you will store it there, and then you'll manifest it at any point that you need it to. But yeah, what would like it just leads on to another question with your character in terms of when you're like hanging around with the rest of the party. Are you going to be like, do you float a few inches off the floor, or do you float quite high and therefore you're going to be at eye level to people? Are you expecting to be carried around by others, or how are you going to be?
I feel like a mixture of them all. Carried around it would be useful to like maybe sneak me into places. Obviously, a pebble, so it could be. But floating around, it could be a couple feet off the floor, maybe. Cause I feel like if it's the same height as I mean, everyone else is 4 foot anyway.
Yeah, everyone's pretty short, so
It's not looking too bad if it's just a couple feet off the floor or something.
yeah, I'd say 2 or 3 foot. You can hover about that level. Maybe obviously if like your utility belt can only hold a certain few items in like the spectral area, and then you'll have to obviously rely on the other party members to carry your other stuff, and hopefully Stefano won't steal your amber, because we all know he definitely wants that. So yeah, okay. So yeah, you get a loaf of ambread, which Carl loves ambread.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And
I'm
you
not
get
sure what a pebble's going to do with bread.
oh yeah, your guy eats rocks, but
I just eat rocks, do I? Is that my diet?
rocks, diamonds, like stuff like that. So you'll have
You
to
eat.
find
I'm a rogue. You eat a diamond. I'm eating you.
Rocks and diamonds. Like diamonds are your delicacy. Like if you get
okay.
if you get hold of some diamonds, you're loving life.
You're
pretty much.
one happy
diamonds,
pebble.
Like a king.
diamonds aren't that valuable. There are some obviously really valuable stones.
Right.
Obviously, amber being the most valuable one,
I
raw
wouldn't
amber.
eat that though. That would be
But
a
you
big
don't. Well,
mistake.
eating amber does give you powers. So there's a lot of powers in the book where they are actually it's spawned by eating it. So mostly like your Brobnar and like Stefano, he's going to be probably eating amber in order to get his powers.
Right.
And a silicate is most likely going to also eat amber to get his powers. Whereas someone like a elf might actually wear some kind of talisman that they use, and then they imbue like that with power and stuff like that. So there's loads of different ways that they can use it, but eating amber is actually one of the big ways. So obviously we said with amber, you can either spend it on some skills early on, like Stefano took his telekinesis, but the other thing is that you can start making a actual effect. So that's some kind of ability that your character has access to it too. So I don't know if whether or not what like line you've gone down will obviously go into talents, but are you thinking save your amber and maybe make some kind of power effect later?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Once we started, I'll have to think of a power I would like to use that amber for. I might maybe save up for a better, more powerful effect for this to do. But yeah, didn't fancy telekinesis.
No, so what I'd say for that then, if you have if you come up with an idea like something like your character can do, possibly even like expanding on that whole idea of having the utility belt in a different realm. Maybe you can actually pull different things out. Maybe you can have weapons appear when you say something or anything like that. Something kind of those lines. Let me know, and I'll give you maybe like an amber cost just for you to like start aiming towards, so that you've got an idea of where it would be. Because if you come to me and you're like, I want to be able to summon meteors from the sky and it crush someone, I'm going to be obviously vetoing that or giving it a massive cost. Whereas if you come to me with something simple, we can actually get your character off the ground with some kind of effect, because you're an ambermancer, you want to start.
I was also thinking maybe as a support character, so maybe you could do some healing or something like that, give buff my my party members or anything like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's also fits Silica as well. They are actually well-known healers, and they heal in various different ways using amber, some with different salves and stuff like that. So if you went down the support way, there is effects like there's armor effects or there's utility effects, and then there's weapon effects, which obviously are a lot more simple. But armor effects, you could have it like maybe like the spectral armor that you have, you can then share onto other people, so it like gives them like a protective shield in. We can look at maybe having like a word where you say it and it heals them, or maybe just rubbing the pebble heals you back to full health or something like that. Pretty much you tell me how you want your effect to work, and we will make it work. There's obviously a massive section in the book on effects, and I have read all of it now, but it's one of those that when it comes to it, we're going to have to go through it like step by step, because you add loads onto it. There's there's loads of pages of different abilities that it does. Like I was saying to Carl earlier, actually, I've just spotted one in there where you can make your effect which it can be like a healing one, but then you add on to it this other ability, this power, and one of them is resurrection. So it could be that literally anyone in the party dies, and you can be like, well, I'm going to resurrect them. And then as long as it's within one turn of them dying, you bring them back to life. But those effects are obviously big, powerful effects.
Yeah,
And
so
what happens? Well, it only costs one extra to add onto your effect, but once you use it, you can't use your whole effect again until you replenish it. So let's say your effect cost 5 to make, and you use this resurrection, you will need 5 amber again before you can even use the basic healing.
I think we should
Oh,
probably
okay,
say
right.
at this point as well. If none of that made sense, we did go through ambermancy quite a lot, and the explanation of how you go through the ambermancy and creation of powers and how to use it in Stefano's video. So in the
Yep.
third character creation video for Zaya Kit, if you wanted to see a bit more, if you haven't watched that yet and you want to see a bit more of an explanation of how amber's used and how powers are created, go and watch that as well, because that's probably, I think, instead of going through that in massive detail again, I think watching that would be it's a good watch.
Yeah. So we've then expanded a bit more on that here, and yeah, so we'll cover that with your character. You don't need to obviously use your amber straight away, like Stefano did. I think it's actually better to hold on to it and come up with something really powerful later on. So obviously your character then gets 95 experience plus the extra 20 I gave you, so 115.
Yes.
What have you spent it on?
I have spent 30 on boosting my cunning to 3.
Sneaky Pebble.
Another 30 on willpower.
Yep.
Another 30 on agility to make that 33 as well.
Very, very nice. Nice fast pebble.
It's a round pebble. That's what it is. He's very spherical. So he's pushing down a hill.
I have also spent 5 on a talent swift, which makes me faster, just generally, I think.
Nice. I'm guessing that's one of the basic talents, right?
Yeah, one of the core Genesis talents, yeah. I've also spent 5 on silent communication.
Oh, that's something Carl's got. So obviously the silent
Nice, we
communication.
speak to each other. Yes.
So with your silent communication, with you being a bit more spectral, I think yours kind of makes more sense. Potentially actually having a voice in someone's mind. So you could say like a limited bit. So, or what have you thought about with that one?
Sorry, yeah, because as my character is a pebble, I feel like its disadvantage is not being able to speak just generally. So I was thinking the silent communication, it's more of a one-way communication, I guess. Apart from if you have that trait too, which Carl does. So I was thinking more of like telepathically, like talking to them or spiritually or something like that.
I think that was the problem that I had. The problem I had was that it was the one-way thing of it has to be something like you've just said there. They can't respond. They just know what you're trying to. They know what you're trying to say, or an idea of, not necessarily like go left 300 paces and do that. It's more of a that way sort of. It's a vague communication. Yeah,
I mean, there's no reason why your character can't have a mouth and eyes and can actually talk. So I think he can actually. I'd say he could talk. Maybe he's obviously not very good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and have this silent communication on top so that you can, because for one of the reasons would be obviously a talking pebble is going to wind like to confuse different people, and people aren't going to know about it in different situations. So maybe it could be, instead of you actually talking, you're just going to be like,
what the fuck?
This is my opinion.
It's a talking pebble.
Or like I'm thinking your character is obviously going to be very like utility based as well, because like the amount of advantages you're going to have from having like a little pebble that can do things, like maybe if there is things that you've got to like sneak through into different areas and things like that, your guy can like go through the vents, they can go through loads of random shit. And I'm like, I've been having to, like, when I'm writing the story, I'm like, well, I've got to make it bit more difficult because like there's like, oh yeah, you got to get into this like this compound. Oh, lob Ollie over.
Pebblesaurus.
If Ollie just comes wandering out with all the amber, like, all right, lads.
Now that is something I wanted to talk to people about before we started. Character voices, Because you were just like, I don't know why. For some reason, he went all Cockney then, and he just robbed an apple shop. but if you are 3 inches tall, you have got to have a character voice. He's perfect for a little squeaky pebble.
I either want a super like low, like
A proper
Bass
Scottish
down.
boy. Yeah, full dwarf. You've got to toss me.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I'm making
Well,
everybody's having character voices. We're not.
I'm
we're
just
not
telling you
messing
now,
about.
I am really bad with character voices. So when I've been like writing
even
all my
better.
characters, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's just like a normal human.
You know what? If we were all good at character voices, it'd be shit. The fact that we're all going to be bad at character voice
Yeah,
is why it's going to be excellent.
I think it's going to change like every like episode. It's just
And
gonna be
even
like,
better. Yeah, why not?
this Brummy Pebble is now from Scotland.
It's gonna turn different accents within the sentence as well.
It's all over the place.
Uh,
It's Crucible, isn't it? It's a big melting pot of different accents and different things.
Yeah, it don't know race, gender, color, or anything, does it? It's just everybody's
No.
at the Crucible.
I think I'm the clear example of that as a pebble.
As a pebble. At some point, someone's got to try and skip you across an ocean.
Absolutely, I've already been thinking about that. The first lake.
That was going to be my goal, like to be the record skipper of pebbles.
The first lake we find, you are getting skipped across. I've already thought about that. You're not even going to want to do it. I'm just going to run up, pick you up.
No choice in the matter.
The first actual fight in this is going to be between you two, I think.
I mean, it's going to be a fight between Carl and the Martians to see who's going to throw me first.
Yeah. I think everyone's getting involved.
Yeah, we're just all
Yeah.
collective throwing.
Stefan's going to turn you into some kind of grenade and then throw you. Right,
Yeah,
so you've spent, I think,
90,
100.
100, so I got 15 more, I think.
Yep.
And I think I spent an extra 10 on Ambercraft.
Yep. So that would so that would jump up that skill, and that'll leave you with 5 if you want to spend it now, or you can save it for later.
I think I spent it on Knack for it too, as a talent.
Okay. So with that talent, I believe you name a skill.
I do, and that is going to be willpower.
Willpower. So when
Is willpower a skill? I thought it was a characteristic.
Sorry, was that skill? Oh, is it a skill?
It's a skill. Yeah, skill.
Okay, so I'll go for Ambercraft then.
There's a knack for it. Is that a standard skill?
I think so. Yes.
I think it's in the core book.
Yeah, knack for it. Yep. So when you purchase talent for your character, select one skill. Your character removes 2 dice from any checks they make using 2 negative dice from any checks that they use making this skill. Each additional time you purchase talent for your character, select 2 additional skills. Your character also removes from any checks they make using those skills. You cannot select combat or magic.
The reason I know it was a skill, I nearly went for it, but I was so indecisive. I didn't know what to put it in. So.
What did you pick for it? Sorry.
Ambercraft.
I don't know if you can do that one.
Yeah, it's magic. It is a magic.
Yeah, that would count as magic in this.
Okay, because the spreadsheet says the Arcana, Divide, and Primal, the magic skills.
Oh no, ignore that. That's so what it is because Knack for it's in the core set. The actual the RPG, the Keyforge RPG specifically says in it that there's no magic. So that section, realistically, I should probably get rid out of the because I just copied the because obviously there's no character sheet yet for this set, so I just copied the Genesis basic one. So that's got to come off it.
Potentially, then if you're looking down that line, you could go for knowledge of Amber. So I would say that would give you some advantages in Ambercraft because when you're preparing the Amber, knowing more about it will be a lot more helpful. Knowing where to find Amber is a big thing in Amber knowledge. But yeah, I think I was just thinking that because with the like making the effect, there's obviously a big dice roll at the end where you can really fail it, and if you remove 2 negative dice from that, you'll be passing it pretty much every time, and you could make
makes sense.
Yeah, pretty disgusting. Yeah. I mean, you did almost wipe. Well, you did wipe out an entire species. So
Yeah.
He does what he wants.
so yeah, so that covers off your talents. I'd say yeah, knack for it for knowledge of
Amber.
Amber is pretty good. So in terms of let's going back to you saying being part of the Saurian Republic, are you saying pretty much everyone views you well and positive, or is it like a specific group or things like that?
So, because they're described as some stories of the different dinosaur, different tribes and stuff.
Yep.
And quite a few dinosaurs, more of the more aggressive military style dinosaur tribes, aren't huge fan of me. So I've settled myself within the more herbivore. I can't remember what they were called, but there was a tribe that just all herbivores. I think it's like Herbisaurus or tribe or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking just being more of like a priest or that kind of character within this society. Hopefully, they're doing all this magic stuff, trying to work out Amber,
Yeah.
helping them to help with their technology, progress them, but also trying to do it more for my selfish needs of just trying to work out what Amber is.
Yeah, so there is actually the Saurian Republic is split into city-states, and each state has like a different group of dinosaurs within there, and one of those is called Partum Mechanica, and that is like they're built in the side of a mountain, a big massive cave structure, this city-state, and they are the center of technology and like technological innovation for the Saurians. So they have engineers and they experiment with Amber. They have lots of different things going on which is quite hidden. So other people outside the Saurian Republic don't really know about it. But one of like the big things that people think that they're actually doing there is trying to turn lead into Amber, and that is like a big rumor for your area, which Carl wouldn't know about or might know. We don't know. But
I know nothing.
So we'll see if we can try and like build that into there, having like the Partum Mechanica as part of your where you're from, and they're the ones that are like, oh yeah, obviously we know everything about Amber, so we understand this little pebble getting all uppity and getting involved and wanting to be the new emperor. So it kind of makes sense.
That makes more sense for my character.
So yeah, I'd say that fits well. I think that pretty much covers off your character. I mean, I think it's definitely the weirdest one we've got. I'll be interested to see how it works. I think your character is going to be one that's going to probably evolve pretty quickly when we get started, because you're going to be like, yeah, this is not going to work in this situation because of this or this. And we might have to add little things onto your character or give it maybe different like abilities just to try and make up for some areas, because it's really hard to judge at the minute how like powerful it's going to be for you, because in a fight, I think you're still going to be pretty strong because no one's going to see you coming. In social situations, in social situations, you can potentially, rather than be the one doing the talking, there's nothing stopping you from spying on other people and bringing that information back to others. If there's any kind of like sneaking around or anything like that, you're going to be perfect at that because you are a tiny little pebble.
I guess you could, with my crystals, I could be quite like glowing or something. So I could be quite visual. I could be quite easily seen or something with the crystals in certain environments or something like that.
That'd be good. And then it might mean that you'll have to actually be conscious to cover yourself up or wrap yourself in some kind of towel or something like that.
Go in someone's pocket or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, all those things we can come across that. I think the glowing stones is a pretty good idea. It makes you look more powerful as well. Like someone's gonna see like a little pebble with three like dull little crystals on it. They're not gonna like blink twice. But if you've got big blue glowing things, then that's pretty good, to be fair. So yeah, that pretty much covers up your character. Have you got any questions for me, or is there anything else you wanted to go through? Anything you wanted to mention about your character that I've not prompted?
I don't think so. I think we got as much as we can out of this Pebble.
I think that's the whole point. This is just a stepping stone. This is the foothold. There's stuff going to come out of the the ether once we start actually role playing and going through bits that Steve's written up for us, where we're just going to come out with ridiculous bits, and everybody's character's going to grow. That's sort of the point. So
Yeah,
I think it's good.
definitely an evolved run.
Yeah. So far we've got an untamed elf rogue. We've got a Martian loyalist engineer. We've got a wild Logos goblin ambermancer that's just gonna eat everybody and everything apparently, and then a more civilized yet very much limited Pebble ambermancer, who definitely seems a little more rounded than the goblin. So yeah, that's the four. So we've just got Rene's left, and the interesting thing is, none of us know what Rene's planning on. Because
I think even Rennie knows what he's planning on. Yeah.
no, so we're gonna butter Rene up to actually give us an idea of what he's thinking of, get his character knocked out sharpish, and then we can start going through these first couple of episodes where we can start fleshing out the characters and a bit of the background and the Keyforge lore and landscape. That's the bit I'm super looking forward to. Is just I know Steve's been working really hard on getting a story together, and he's been tapping up seasoned DMs for a bit of help as well. So no, I'm on the hype train now. This is it. I'm ready to go. So
I'm ready to go. I'm really excited for the story, so I hope obviously everyone jumps in. If you guys, obviously, I have tried to make it as like broad as I can, but there is some really cool stories in there that I hope you guys obviously get to see. And provided your characters don't just go the complete opposite direction to where I want you to go,
yeah,
I think we'll definitely get there. And there's some really funny stuff coming up as well, hopefully. So
I've already decided my elf's flipping to he's going to become a sanctum elf paladin.
Veto, dying first character. First episode.
Grand. Well, we'll leave it there. We've got one more to do, and then we're going to get into it. So again, thanks for staying with us and watching the video. Thanks, Ollie, for going through it, and Steve taking him through it. But yeah, hopefully you can see we're pumped, we're excited, and we're ready to get Rene's out of the way as well. So thanks again, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Ollie. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Bye.